Hello everyone, and welcome to our channel, The Lecture for Sleep. Tonight we're embarking on a unique journey, one that takes us back in time through the echoes of the past. Have you ever wondered how our ancestors slept? Before the glow of smartphones, before the hum of the city, before even the invention of the light bulb, what did sleep look like for humanity? It's a fascinating question, and the answers might just hold the key to understanding our own modern sleep struggles. Let's travel back, way back, to a time when life was dictated by the sun and the moon. For our hunter-gatherer ancestors, sleep wasn't a consolidated 8-hour block like we strive for today. It was a more fluid, fragmented experience. Imagine a small group, huddled together for warmth and safety. Sleep would come in short bursts, interspersed with periods of wakefulness. This is what researchers call segmented or biphasic sleep. People would sleep for a few hours after dusk, wake up for an hour or two in the middle of the night, and then fall back asleep until dawn. Now, what did they do during this watchful period in the dead of night? It wasn't a time for tossing and turning with anxiety. Historical records, from diaries to medical texts, suggest this was a highly valued time. It was a quiet, private moment for contemplation, for connecting with a partner, for telling stories, or simply for sitting in quiet reflection. It was a natural part of the human sleep cycle, a gentle pause in the night's rest. This pattern was the norm for thousands of years, a rhythm deeply ingrained in our biology. The primary driver of this sleep pattern was light, or rather the lack of it. Their world was governed by natural light. When the sun went down, the world plunged into a darkness we can barely imagine today. The only light came from the moon, the stars, or a flickering fire. This profound darkness sent a powerful signal to the brain. It's time to rest. The hormone melatonin, our body's natural sleep signal, would rise with the setting sun, preparing the body for sleep. Their environment also played a huge role. Sleep was a communal activity. People didn't sleep in soundproof private bedrooms. They slept together, in groups, exposed to the sounds of nature and the movements of others. This might sound disruptive, but it likely fostered a sense of security. Someone was always semi-alert, keeping watch for predators. This shared vigilance meant that each individual could relax a little more, knowing the group was protected. It's a stark contrast to our modern solitary sleeping arrangements, where every little creak in the house can feel like a threat. So, what changed? The Industrial Revolution. This period brought about one of the most significant shifts in human history, and it completely rewired our relationship with sleep. First and foremost was the advent of artificial light. Gas lamps, and later electric bulbs, liberated us from the tyranny of the sun. Suddenly, the night was no longer just for sleeping. It became a time for work, for socializing, for extending the day. The clear boundary between day and night began to blur. This new, illuminated world pushed our bedtimes later and later. The quiet, contemplative period in the middle of the night started to be seen as inconvenient, a waste of time. Society began to value a single, uninterrupted block of sleep. Doctors in the 19th century started to pathologize waking in the night, labeling it as a disorder. The idea of the consolidated 8-hour sleep became the gold standard, a new ideal that many of us now strive for and often fail to achieve. Along with light came the rigid structure of the workday. The factory whistle and the office clock demanded that everyone wake up at the same time, ready for a long day of labor. This rigid schedule didn't care about our natural sleep cycles. It forced a one-size-fits-all approach onto a diverse population with varying sleep needs and chronotypes. The night owl was forced to become an early bird, often at the expense of their health and well-being. This societal pressure to conform to a single sleep pattern created a lot of the sleep anxiety we experience today. Now, let's bring it back to the present. Why does any of this ancient history matter for your sleep tonight? Because understanding these echoes of the past can be incredibly liberating. For instance, do you ever wake up around 2 or 3 a.m. and lie there, panicking that your sleep is broken? What if, instead of seeing it as a problem, you saw it as a faint echo of your ancestors' biphasic sleep pattern? This shift in perspective can be powerful. Instead of fighting the wakefulness, maybe you can embrace it. Get out of bed for a little while. Read a book under a dim light. Do some gentle stretching. Or just sit quietly. Avoid your phone, of course. The blue light is the enemy of sleep. By accepting this period of wakefulness instead of wrestling with it, you might find that you can fall back asleep much more easily. You're not broken. You're just tapping into an ancient rhythm. This historical lens also highlights the profound impact of light on our sleep. Our ancestors lived by the sun, and we've strayed so far from that. To improve our sleep, we can try to mimic their light exposure. This means getting as much bright, natural light as possible during the day, especially in the morning. Open your curtains right after you wake up. Go for a walk. This helps to anchor your internal body clock, your circadian rhythm. And in the evening, we need to create our own artificial dusk. Dim the lights in your home an hour or two before bed. Switch off bright overhead lights and use warm, low-level lamps instead. And most importantly, put away the screens. The blue light from our phones, tablets, and computers is like a shot of espresso for the brain. It tells your body it's daytime, suppressing melatonin production, and making it harder to fall asleep. Recreating that ancestral darkness is one of the most effective things you can do for your sleep. Think about the sounds of your sleep environment too. Our ancestors slept with the sounds of nature, the chirping of crickets, the rustle of leaves. Today, we're bombarded with the sounds of traffic, sirens, and noisy neighbors. If you live in a loud environment, consider using a white noise machine or a fan to create a consistent, soothing soundscape. It can help mask disruptive noises and mimic that gentle, natural background hum that our brains are wired to find calming. Finally, let's consider the social aspect. While we may not sleep in large groups anymore, the feeling of safety is still crucial for good sleep. If you're feeling anxious or stressed before bed, it's very difficult to relax. Our brains are still wired to be on high alert for danger. This is why creating a wind-down routine is so important. It's a signal to your brain that the day is over and it's safe to rest. This could be anything from a warm bath to listening to calming music to journaling and getting your worries out of your head and onto paper. By looking back at the echoes of our past, we can see that many of our modern sleep problems aren't personal failings. They are the result of a massive mismatch between our ancient biology and our modern lifestyle. We are trying to fit our prehistoric bodies into a post-industrial world, and it's taking a toll. But the good news is we can learn from our ancestors. We can reintroduce elements of their world into our own. We can honor our connection to the natural cycles of light and dark. We can reframe our understanding of what normal sleep even is. And we can create a sleep environment that feels safe and calming. Sleep isn't a performance or a competition. It's a fundamental biological need, a time for rest and repair. Perhaps the best advice comes from the distant past. Listen to your body, respect the darkness, and find peace in the quiet moments of the night. Thank you for joining me on this journey through time. I hope these echoes from the past help you find better rest in the present. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more lectures on sleep. Sleep well,